Welcome back, everybody, to the Fighting for Freedom podcast.
Fighting for freedom, one podcast at a time.
What up, what up? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode on the Fighting for Freedom podcast. Today I am joined by Brooke. What's up, Brooke? How you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Hey, I am chilling. I know we already brought up the elephant in the room, the Norfolk Admirals logo in the back. I will say, if you're in the Norfolk, Virginia area, go to a game on Fridays because they have $2 beers, $2 hot dogs, and I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they're going to win because I don't know who this team is, who they think they are, but they're actually really good. And Brooke, you said that the Admirals stepped up a division, right?
They're moving. They play in I think they're in like the Northeast Division now. So now they're playing teams from Maine and New Hampshire. So it's definitely a step up for them. Yeah.
The coach was like, dude, we need like a bus to like get these guys. Exactly. Everyone's just going to carpool there. That's funny. All right, Brooke. So let's kind of get into it. Who are you? Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So my name's Brooke Corson. I'm the executive director of Mutts Mission. Currently, we are located in Virginia. I actually have a dog, Hudson, right here. That's what I'm wrestling with right now. He's not being So we're located in Virginia Beach, Virginia right now. Originally, I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina. So back when it was little. But my family is from over Newport News. So we moved here. We moved to Virginia when I was 10, but I've been all over since then. So.
Yeah. So you were in the Army, correct? How did Brooke's life go from, growing up as a child, coming to Newport News to ending up joining the Army?
Oh gosh. It's a long and strange journey. After I graduated from Virginia Tech, he's my husband now. We wound up in Maine by way of Montana, up in Maine, and we were both going to go join the Marine Corps. That didn't work out for us, though. Yeah. So I went in and joined the Army. I was a reservist. Got activated, sent down to Fort Benning for 2 years from 04 to 06. And that's kind of how Mutts Mission got started, was from some of the experiences that I had when I was down there with a dog that I got to blood trail wounded deer. But I saw what a difference he made with the drill sergeants I was working with. And here we are today. It's our 16th year now. So.
Wow, that's crazy. So, like, what was your job in the Army that you had to like kind of deal with dogs?
So it was one of those ask for forgiveness instead of permission things. So I was an activated reservist down at Fort Benning. I was a supply sergeant for an infantry training brigade. Once I got through there, I went to, and like I said, got the puppy, decided I wanted to teach him to blood trail wounded deer. Mm-hmm. And I just took him everywhere because what else was I going to do with him? Yeah. And so a lot of the drill sergeants would come in. They'd be like, "Hey, where's Angus?" I'd be like, "He's over there sleeping." Wake him up. And what they were doing at the time was they were bringing. So I was with the infantry force. They were bringing infantrymen back from Iraq to be drill sergeants, so that these privates would get, drill sergeants that had boots on the ground experience. Yeah. And so, drill sergeant, I went to drill sergeant school in 2007 and became a drill sergeant. I mean, as a drill sergeant, you're everything. You're mom, dad, counselor, everything. So it was very hard on some of these guys to go from being in Iraq to being a drill sergeant, especially, if like some of their friends were killed or things like that while they were over here. So they would come in, they would, ask where the dog is, and you could kind of see them sit down and hang out with the dog and kind of decompress. After I was through with my 2 years down at Fort Benning, like I said, I went to drill sergeant school, had to go get a job, and it was not my favorite thing in the world, but I kept started losing friends to PTSD, and I grew up training dogs. I helped pay my way through college training dogs, and so I kept saying to my husband, I was like, "There's got to be something I can do." And he said, "Shut up or do something. So here we are 16 years later.
That's
Sometimes
crazy.
he will admit he regrets saying that, but
yeah, I believe it. Well, I would have thought, given the background, maybe you were like a dog handler. Maybe you were like an MP or something. But you had a passion, right? And your passion was and is dogs.
Yes, yep. When I joined the Army, I wanted to be a drill sergeant.
Okay.
So, that was when I went in. I said, send me wherever I need to do, whatever MOS I need, I'll do it. I just want to be a drill sergeant. So I was a supply sergeant, and then I got to be a drill sergeant, and I was a combatives instructor. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was Angus a combative instructor as well? he would just tackle you and lick you to death.
Yep, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's like, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but that was like kind of like my dream, right? Like, not I want to say dream, but like my road path that I wanted to do, like my roadmap. Is like everyone, goes, you have to go to boot camp. You have to go to boot camp in order to be in the military. And everybody kind of wants to go back, but not as like a boot. You want to go back as a drill instructor or an RDC or, what have you. And that's something I don't think I'm going to get to do. But I'm glad you did. I'm glad at least somebody did. I actually talked to somebody else too, and I did a podcast with her recently, and she ended up getting out. But she was like, I really wanted to do it too, but I got out of the military, and my husband is a RDC now, like a drill sergeant. So I just ask him questions sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, there you go. That kind of makes sense. I'm like, you got the best of both worlds. So, Brooke, in 2008 is when you started Mutts on a Mission, right?
Correct.
Okay, so how did this kind of idea, Mutts on a Mission, Mutts with a Mission, come up? Like, what happened that your husband was like, shut up or do something, and you were like, all right, like what went through your head?
Well, I started losing friends to PTSD.
Okay.
I had kind of seen, what Angus did, and I mean, he was a little Cairn Terrier that I was trained to blood trail wounded deer, so he wasn't anything, super special.
Yeah.
And so I started doing some research and said, hey, you know what? Like, there wasn't a lot out there on service dogs for PTSD at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started researching like what's a big organization that, like, is there an organization that oversees service dog programs? Which there is, and it's Assistance Dogs International. So, I said, I can train a dog obedience wise and public access wise. Just had to figure out how to train the tasks. And that's just kind of developed over the years. I mean, some of them are something as simple as cutting on lights in a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
Other ones are, waking people up from night terrors, medication reminders. So, and that's where now you have, the internet and stuff like that. You can see videos, but that's where, I really started networking with some trainers and some other programs and seeing what they were doing. And then just kind of, a lot of it was figuring it out on our own.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a journey. But we're accredited through Assistance Dogs International, which means that our teams can travel internationally. It also means that our veterans can get the benefits from the VA for their dogs.
Really?
So, yep. And it also means that we have an outside organization coming in every 5 years and telling us if we're doing the right thing or not. So
okay. I guess kind of as times change, maybe like, different ways come about, and they're like, okay, yeah. It's like technology, like when I had a phone, there was a wire connected to it, and it went to the wall in my house. And if I was on the computer and my mom was on the phone, we were gonna have a war. Now it's, look who we are now. It's
you were probably
15
on
years
the
later.
very end of that, weren't you? Like the corded phones and dial-up.
I was born in '94, so I had a little bit of it. I had a couple of years of it,
Okay.
when I was allowed to use the computer. So
Yep.
I was one of those that if you didn't cut the grass, you don't get to use the computer. And I was like, but it's snowing. They're like, well, guess you can't use the computer.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
So Brooke, when you first started up in 2008, how many people were you? How many people did you have working with you?
So I ran it. I was able to get my brother and my husband. You need 3 people to have a board for a nonprofit.
Yeah, correct. Depending on the state, right?
Yeah. So we were initially in New Jersey. So, yeah, we were in Southern New Jersey originally. So I got them to. I mean, they didn't have to do anything other than sign paperwork for me.
Exactly.
So I ran it by myself for quite a few years, probably close to a decade. And then we moved from New Jersey. We moved to Maine. We were up in Maine for a while, and then we moved down to Virginia. And we moved to the Madison, like that's in between Charlottesville and Culpeper. And there's already an organization. There's already an ADI accredited organization in Madison called Service Dogs of Virginia. And I tell you what, the best thing I ever did was I made an appointment with their director. I went in and said, hey, we're a service dog program. We're right up the road from you guys. We're a different mission because they work with civilians. And they do like a lot of diabetic alert stuff. I mean, it's a great program. I said, we're looking to get accredited through ADI, and Peggy Law, the director and founder of that program, kind of took me under her wing and helped us work through the accreditation process. And just, I mean, I learned a ton from her, but I think the best thing I did was I walked in and said, we're not taking your puppy raisers. We're not taking your funding. We're a different mission. We're not here to get in your Kool-Aid.
That's good.
Yeah. And it really set up a good relationship. And so then we wound up moving down to Virginia Beach, and that's the best move we ever made. I mean, we've always worked with veterans. In 2019, we added first responders. And I mean, this is, unless you're in San Diego, you're not going to get, a much more heavily populated military area. So.
Yeah, definitely. That was kind of what I was going to ask. My next question is, given the area that, you're kind of, let's just say you're stationed in, right? Does that have an impact on, the military around you, right? For example, in Jersey, were you getting a lot more people, a lot more veterans out there than you were opposed to Virginia Beach?
We were fairly young in New Jersey, so it's hard. I think the hardest thing is initially getting your name out there and
tell me
getting,
about it.
dogs and things like that.
That's true, yeah.
Now we rely heavily on puppy raisers.
Okay.
We've got some good puppy raisers. We have another puppy raiser orientation coming up in June. And I think the area has really not only allowed us to grow as far as the dogs that we're able to produce, but it's, we've added first responders, we've added facility dogs. So we place our dogs with police departments. We've put a couple on ships and things like that. So it's really, we're affecting a lot more people in a positive way. I mean, we've really been blessed moving down here. Yeah.
You put a dog on a ship? Please explain that. How does that work?
So, in October of 2022, we were on a ship visit on the USS Wasp, and their DRC, their Deployment Resiliency Counselor, came up to us and said, "How do we get a dog on a ship?" And I laughed at her and I go, "I don't think you do." And I said, let me do some research, see if there's any, I know there's a regulation that has guidance for facility dogs in like hospitals and things like that.
Okay.
In the middle, like Walter Reed, they have a bunch, and like Portsmouth has a couple. So I said, let me do some research and I'll get back with you. Well, there was nothing. So the DRC and he's the XO at the time of the WASP, and I came up with a policy. And so we floated it to the higher powers, and we started a pilot program. So we have Ike is on the Wasp, with Surflant, and then Admiral Meyer was the Airlant CO at the time. He saw Ike and one of our other dogs up at Sea, Air, and Space, that big conference, and he's like, well, I want a dog on a ship. And so we wound up putting Sage on the Ford prior to their deployment last year. So she deployed with the Ford, and they're with mental health.
Yeah, of course.
And then we deployed Demo on the Ike. So.
That is so cool. So you mean to tell me these dogs actually have like deployment ribbons?
Yes,
that,
yes,
that
yep.
that's so cool. That's such a big morale booster too.
It
Like
is.
I hear a lot of stories about these guys who go on deployments, on big ships, little ships, wooden ships, I don't know, pick a ship, who cares? And it's like, they're like, yeah, I mean, like, we have each other, right? But there's only so much you could take of another person. There's only so many times you could watch the same 80 movies in the span of 9 months. When you can't call home, you can only email certain times of the day. There's no Wi-Fi. And my ignorant self was like, what do you mean there's no Wi-Fi? You know what I mean? I'm a CB. I've never been on a boat. I was like, what do you mean there's no Wi-Fi? And they're like, dude, you don't have Wi-Fi. You're in the middle of the ocean. I'm like, you're on this big boat. I can see all of these other bad boats around, but you can't get Verizon, And they're like, no. And that's probably the one downfall is like the communication that's cut off from your family. But
yeah.
I bet having a dog around that definitely, that definitely helps out a little bit.
It does. And, this all started back in July or June of 22 before the Bush deployed. Jen Pollard, the captain's wife, contacted us and said, hey, we want to do some resiliency, morale building things before our ship deploys. Can you guys bring your dogs out? And so sure. I mean, we had 5-week-old puppies we were taking on board to see the sailors. And we did that weekly until they deployed. They named a litter of puppies for us. These puppies are getting ready to graduate in, the next couple weeks. So, and that kind of word got out with that. And so we've made over 150 ship and command visits in the Norfolk area. Yeah. Wow. We've been on all the aircraft carriers on the East Coast. We've been on the Mason, we've been on, the Bainbridge, you name it, and we've probably been on it with our dogs.
That's so cool. That move from Jersey, yeah, that was definitely one of the biggest things, I guess, for the organization. You know what I mean? That's actually so cool. I think the only thing you wouldn't be able to go on is probably like a sub, just because it's one, too small, too little. There's a lot of nooks and crannies. And the only way to get on it is they don't have an elevator. You got to like go down like a 40-foot straight shaft, and holding a dog, I don't think that's probably the best thing to do.
No, and I would say we've been pierside, so they've had to come see us and see the sun.
That's fine. I bet the dogs love it too, because it's like this. They're like, even for like a human, they probably think the same way. Like, we're going on that, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah, my puppy raisers love doing the visits. And I've got one puppy raiser whose husband was on. He was on the Wasp. He was on the GW. He was on all these ships in his career, and we've been on all of it. Now she's been all on them again, with the dogs. So
that's so cool. I wish I would have heard of that sooner. That would have been like some if it was like a prior COVID thing. That would have been even better. It's like all this could have been in motion like during COVID when, ships were stuck out to sea. That probably would have helped out a lot. But they're there now, and I don't really see something like this ever like stopping or going away. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It doesn't really like cost anything. It's not like paying like a bill every month. It's a dog. Everyone has a dog. I'm pretty sure the captain of the boat has like, a dog at home and everything. That's dope.
We've helped build the regulations, like, it has to be through an Assistance Dogs International accredited organization.
Okay.
Not every dog can be a ship dog. I could pull 5 dogs out of my organization right now and go, these dogs wouldn't be good ship dogs. But we've actually built a ladder well simulator to train the dogs on, and we start them when they're puppies now. Yeah. So a ladder well to them is just another set of steps at this point.
That's true.
The dogs we select to go on the helicopter or on the ships, we do helicopter training with them with some of the squadrons, so that because what they'll do is they're on the carriers, but then they'll fly like the Holy Hilo out to the the other ships in the strike group and whatnot. So
that's so cool. These dogs get to do cooler stuff than I did, and they didn't even have to go to boot camp.
Exactly.
they went to puppy boot camp. You know what I mean?
It takes about 2 years to train them. So yeah.
I was gonna say, like, so I guess starting from like day one, right? So you say you have puppy raisers that are gonna be disclosed. So you have these puppy raisers who kind of like help you. You know, they're like, you know, I'm gonna say in cahoots because I can't think of the word. And then when you do obtain the puppy, like what's step one to kind of get him integrated?
So if it's a puppy that we either get from like the breeding co-op, ADI has a breeding co-op we're a member of.
Okay.
So we might get a puppy from another service dog program. We'll get them about 8-10 weeks. We work with select breeders who are breeding for very specific temperaments, very specific health. They want super healthy dogs. And then we've bred a couple litters ourselves. So if we breed the litter ourselves, we start day one.
Wow.
There's so much stuff you can do with them even before their eyes and ears are open. But if we get them about 8 weeks, we'll start doing some work with them, and then they go home with a puppy raiser. And for 18 to 20 months, that puppy raiser comes to class once a week. They take the puppy with them everywhere. If they go to work, puppy goes to work with them. They go grocery shopping, they go grocery shopping because these are service dogs in training.
Correct.
We have access rights through state law where the puppies can go with them. So, and we have a great group of puppy raisers. We're always looking for more. But they really they'll take the puppies with them when they go to vacation, things like that. So these dogs are really getting a lot of different experiences as they're growing up.
Wow. Now, what's the process to become a puppy raiser?
We come to orientation.
Okay.
And then it's a 3-hour orientation. It's on I think it's on our Facebook page. It might be on the website. I don't manage the website because I try to not, because I accidentally delete things that should be on there. So I try to stay off of that. But we just kind of walk through what are our expectations of puppy raiser. We let puppy raisers. We get some of our other puppy raisers up, talk and answer questions, and then we let you work with a couple of young dogs, and just to see, how you work with the dog. See if, if you hit the dog in the head, we're going to send you down the road, things like that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a labor of love. I tell people, if you can make it past the first 6 months, till the puppy's 6 months old, you'll be good. We as an organization pay for everything. We're a nonprofit, so we pay for all the food, the vet bills, toys, treats. We want to make it. We need puppy raisers, so we don't want finances to be a barrier for somebody to puppy raise. Because you're giving us your time, and that's huge for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was kind of intrigued for a minute, but then I realized it's 2 years, and I won't be here for 2 years. I'm actually going back to Jersey where you just left. So
okay.
Yeah. But honestly, that sounds like something that's very convenient, not only for you, but for somebody who mental health, right? One of the biggest thing that goes on in the military, kind of like what brought you to where you are today. Maybe someone in this Norfolk or Virginia Beach area just got to a duty station, is listening to this podcast right now, and is like, I got 3 years here, and this sucks. Little did I know, I can go to Brooke, and she can teach me how to be a trainer. And I can have this basically service dog help me get through this. And then that is honestly, Brooke, the more you talk, the more I love you. This is like the best idea ever. This is so cool. This is better than I don't know, cordless phones.
There you go. Well, that's pretty big. Well, look, even if people have a limited amount of time here, if you come in and go, look, I'm leaving in 6 months, you know what? That's 6 months that puppy has a puppy raiser. And then it gives us 6 months to find, somebody. And sometimes we have people who don't want baby puppies, they don't want 8 weeks. I have 2 dogs right now that are 6 and 7 months that they're puppy raisers moving out of the area, both of them. And so we'll place them with another puppy raiser. So we're grateful for any time that people can give us as puppy raisers, or even we do what's called respite puppy raisers, and they're nights and weekends. So maybe I have a puppy raiser that's going on vacation for a week, and maybe they're going out of the country and they can't take the dog with them. Then we need what's called a respite puppy raiser, and it's just somebody who steps in for a week, or vacations and things like that. Or if the dog's too young, then or like we have one puppy raiser. She goes to a friend's for a week in the summer, and the friend has a aggressive dog, so we put that puppy with a respite puppy raiser, so that it's in a safe environment for that week. So.
Wow, that's really cool. My wife's an ER nurse, and as you know, she loves the puppies. So I think that's right up her alley. But that's so cool. That's so cool. So qualifications to be a puppy raiser, right? To be a trainer, right? Kind of went through all that. But now let's talk about the real subject, the puppies themselves. What kind of breeds do you typically have for the puppies?
So we use Labradors.
Okay.
And we've had a few golden lab crosses that we've gotten from the co-op. There are a couple programs that absolutely love them. They're not my favorite, if I'm going to be totally honest, because we deal with the demographic. We're dealing with veterans. We're dealing with first responders. We want dogs that are a little more up. Goldens can be kind of low key, kind of soft. Not all of them, but I mean, kind of low key, kind of a little softer, a little more emotional. And I've just found that for my guys that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
And then for size, we used to use Mastiffs, but now we've switched over to Greater Swiss Mountain Dogs. So they get to be about 110, 120 pounds. We have 6 in the program right now.
Holy shit! That's like a kid.
Yeah, well, and so it's for our taller guys that need mobility, where the labs just don't have enough size and mass to them.
Gotcha.
So they train differently than labs, but so far we're pretty happy with them. So
is it a different I guess time in training for the bigger dogs?
We train them until they're 3. The labs we place when they're almost about 2.
Okay.
The Swissies we have to keep them till they're 3 because we wait to neuter them until they're at least 2.5. And I mean they're definitely slower twitch. Like you're like sit, and they're like sit. Hold on. Okay, sit.
Yeah, it makes sense for a yoked out Marine, let's just say Marine veteran to have like that type of dog though. They have the same, it just works out. It's a perfect match. That's so cool. So I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. So you have a pretty good idea and a pretty good grasp, right? Of how to train a dog. Right? You help people. Yeah. I'm gonna say yes, you do. I'm gonna give you a little bit of credit, a little pat on the back. For those listening that aren't involved in the program but do have a dog or are thinking about getting a dog, what are some simple tips and tricks, maybe food recommendations or daily recommendations you can give in, starting the puppy process and getting the puppy from being a puppy to about 3 years old?
So honestly, breeding matters.
Okay.
I have smooth fox terriers. They're the dog that this is good. Some people will get this and some people won't. They're going to have to Google it. They're the breed that the old RCA dog sitting next to the phonograph, a little terrier, white terrier with the patch on the side of his face, like tilting its head towards the record player.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
That's what I have. Yeah, okay. You're gonna have to Google it. You're 94. You got to Google it.
Yeah.
And so I have terriers, and I occasionally breed, but I mean I have terriers that have tons and tons of titles. Like I do a lot of sports and stuff with my dogs. You genuinely do get what you pay for sometimes. Now, if you go to a pet store, you're just getting ripped off. But breeding matters. Making sure that you're getting dogs from healthy parents, and that your breeder is involved. I mean, getting a dog from a real breeder is going to be almost like an interview. But in the same token, you can interview them. Hey, does research your breed. Say if I want a lab, I want to know, are mom and dad, are they clear of hip dysplasia, eye problems, heart problems? Like because they're very real in the breed. And so, and then your breeder will provide you with support. Like the breeder that we got our Swissies from, I know she does all the genetic testing, all the, the hip and elbow x-rays and all that stuff. She's trying to put out the healthiest dog possible. I am not a Greater Swiss Mountain Dog expert. So if I have a question on it, I can call her or text her or whatever and be like, hey, I have a quick question about this. And she's going to get right back to me. Puppies that I've placed personally with my personal dogs, my puppy people know that they can call me, text me, whatever with the question. Or even if they decide they don't want the puppy anymore, I don't care if it's 10, 15 years old, I'll take it back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you kind of, in that aspect, you get what you pay for. It's a relationship. It's a part of a family. As far as food, that is a conversation we could get into and we could take years.
Yeah.
I would tell you, we feed our service dogs in training, we feed them Pro Plan.
Okay.
And the reason we feed that is we want something that's, been tested and is that you can source no matter where you are, because our recipients do travel, so they need to be able to go and grab a bag of food. I will tell you, if you can buy it in Walmart, it's probably not the best food on the planet.
Yeah.
I personally feed my dogs raw, but that's a whole nother. If you ask my veterinarian about that, he would be like, Brooke's the worst ever. But yeah, so I think food is one of those very polarizing things for people, but
it's hard.
It's very, very hard. Like I had a Malinois who I couldn't feed raw to because he just didn't do well on it. So I think you kind of have to find the food that works for your dog and, and stick with it. Training, it's consistency. I always recommend, for people that are getting puppies, there's a trainer named Ivan Balabanov, and he's out of Florida. He's got some phenomenal like YouTube stuff. He's got, videos you can go in and buy. And he's not only is he a great trainer and really, knows like the core of training, like the why behind the science.
Yeah.
But he's a world competitor and has won, world champions with his dog. So he's got the street credentials to back it up. Puppies, it's consistency. It's knowing that you're going to get up in the middle of the night for the first couple weeks and let them out. And, crate training. We crate train all of our dogs, especially living in this area. We run into people who are like, I could never crate my dog. Well, okay, we have a hurricane and you have to go into a shelter. They're going to require your dog to be in a crate just for safety. Mm-hmm. What happens if your dog gets injured and it has to be on crate rest? Or, when you spay and neuter it, it's crate rest.
Yeah.
You can utilize it properly. It's not a bad thing. It's really, really just consistency. As with everything on the internet, beware. You could go find a million different trainers to tell you. They say with trainers, the only thing trainers can agree on with each other is that they're going to disagree on methods.
I believe it.
So there are in this area some good obedience clubs. Getting your dog out to see the world. They don't have to meet everybody. They don't have to, meet every dog. I'm always very protective of my baby puppies with dogs that I don't know, because not every dog is, I never listen to owners because they're like, oh, my dog's friendly. And I'm like, well, your version of friendly and my version of friendly are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have personal dogs that never interact with my puppies because I have terriers, and terriers are assholes sometimes. So, I recognize that. Like I know my dogs can be jerks. And I don't want that, on my lab puppies. So, I think you just go, but definitely breed research, exercising these puppies. We have people, they'll call us and they're like, oh, I have this Malinois that I got. And I'm like, well, how's that working out for you? And they're like, it's got too much energy. It's tearing my house apart. Well,
yeah.
Okay, well, you don't do anything with it, and so.
Yeah, the dog it needs to let its energy go. Take him for a walk. Like
exactly.
Feed him, take him for a walk, and I bet you he'll be snoring as soon as you walk through that door. Like it's literally like people. It's like a kid. Like we have 2 cats, and my cats do the same thing. Like I'll kind of like when he'll run around the house meowing, and I'm like, oh god. I check the food bowl. Food bowl's full. I'm like, he's bored, so I'll do the little feather on the stick thing for like 4 minutes, and then he's knocked out, and I'm like, okay, he was just bored. He just wants attention. That's all it is. That's all it is.
And that's true. I mean, that you're meeting his needs, and that's what I think that a lot of people, when they get dogs, think about what their genetic needs are. Like
Correct.
I hear all the time people, oh, I got this Australian cattle dog or this blue heeler, and my kids are out running in the yard and he's nipping at them. Of course he is. Like that's his
what
genetics.
They do. Yeah. I got a Jack Russell, but I live in a 200 square foot apartment. Like, what do you think of it?
Exactly. He barks all the time. That's my husband's biggest complaint. He's like, your dogs bark. I hate them. And I'm like, well, they're terriers. If they go into, underground, you can't find them if they don't bark. So just because they live in the house doesn't mean that genetics go away. So
yeah, you bark. I don't complain about you. Yeah,
exactly.
That's funny. Yeah, I think everyone and I will say the breed that me and my wife want to get is a lab. So I think that's honestly phenomenal because she had a lab when she was younger, and her lab Lily, it was with her for her whole entire life, from when my wife was a kid until she was graduating high school, and then things happen, right? So we were talking about getting a dog, and I was like, well, I don't know the first step of getting a dog, right? Like I'm not going to Petco, I'm not going to like a pet store. I was like, we have to find the breeder. I was like, but I don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? So I guess we were on the right path, and I'm glad you gave us the knowledge to know, first thing you need to do is your research, right? This isn't something you could just go to a store and be like, okay, I'm buying this, and then call it a day. No, you got to realize this dog is going to be your family. You're going to have this dog for years. You'll have this dog longer than you have underwear, and everyone knows underwear lasts a long time.
That is true.
Yeah, so definitely do your research. Now,
I tell people to go to breed clubs. So, in my breed, right, there's the American Fox Terrier Club. There's the Labrador Retriever Club of America, and then they usually have, these breeders have gone to this club, they've joined it, they have to meet certain standards, and they normally. Well, I would say every breed club has a representative where you contact them and they'll help match you with the breeder.
Okay. That's kind of what I was leading into. I was like, so when you do find, a big list of breeders, how do you know, okay, this one's okay, or this one's probably not the best for me, or so when you join those clubs and you find out, you can get in contact with somebody and they'll be like, all right, well, this breeder is in Germany, so that's not going to work for you. Right. But unless you want to go, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but yeah, probably not the best. But okay, no, that's so cool. So now let's kind of get into the nitty gritty. Oh, here we go.
This is Hudson.
Hi, Hudson. Oh, he just wants attention. Oh,
yes,
so
he does.
Cute. I'll take him. So now let's say Hudson is full grown, correct?
He is, yes.
So what's the next steps for Hudson?
Hudson's leaving next week. So Hudson was sponsored by the ODU football team. So for the past 2 football seasons, we've gotten to go to all the games.
Hudson's not a hockey guy?
No, Ike, who was on the Wasp, was a hockey dog, and then he was sponsored by the Admirals. And then Hattie, who's getting ready to graduate, was sponsored by the Admirals as well.
That's dope.
So they got to go to all the hockey games. But I'm a huge college football fan, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, you are in the South. We're in the South, so I get it. It's ever since I moved over here, people love it's you're in the South. You conceal carry, and you better drink Mountain Dew. And I'm like, I don't get it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true statement. And love college football. So
that too. I don't mind college football. Oh, God, I want to trade places right now. You can come to my house, hang out with my cat. I want to go hang out with Hudson. So, he heard it. He heard it. Hi, Hudson. Oh, so he graduates next week, correct?
He'll get matched with this person next week. He keeps trying to tell me I'm his person, but I keep telling him I don't need a service dog. So, and Legend, my personal dog, will be very upset by that. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. So, what's the process for one of the dogs getting selected with somebody?
So we've for the past 2 years have been training these guys. I mean, we drop dogs. I've dropped 4 dogs in the past 6 months for not meeting our standards. They get adopted out to good homes. They just go as pets with a lot of training. And then, so we have applicants. There's an application on our website. People apply. We interview and things like that. We interview them. We have about a 2-year wait list, which is pretty standard for the service dog industry.
Makes sense, though.
Yes. Yeah. It
takes that long. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
It takes that long to train a well-trained service dog. Unfortunately, like with everywhere, there's people like, I can train one in 6 months. You can't.
No.
Like, you can't. Or these big organizations like Canine Companions for Independence, who've been doing it forever, would have it down to a science.
Mm-hmm.
So, these people, we interview them. They're on our wait list. They contact us, every 3 months, let us know how they're doing, that they're still interested. And then when we have the right dog for them, we call. So like this past, 2 months ago, we started contacting people saying, hey, we're going to do our service dog transfer camp. We have, we're placing 7 service dogs. Hudson, there's dog hair in my mouth. I can't imagine. We're placing 7 service dogs starting Sunday night. And so we contacted 7 people on the list and said, hey, it's time. We bring them to Virginia Beach for 2 weeks. We pay for their hotels and stuff like that. We've got people coming from New Hampshire. We've got somebody coming from upstate New York. We have people from a lot of people from the Hampton Roads Peninsula area.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bring them in. So Sunday night they come and kind of figure out where the building is and things like that, because we're out in Blackwater. So where people think that we're on the far ends of the earth, but we're really not. And so Monday morning they come in. We hand them a ball and a long line and say, all right, these are the 7 dogs that are here for, that we're going to match with you guys. Go pick a dog. We take them outside and we let them. The first thing we do is we teach these guys how to play with the dogs. And then we switch dogs around and see who bonds with whom. We teach them all the dog's commands, teach them their rights and responsibilities and things like that as a service dog handler. How to care for the dog, all that stuff. And then we go on a bunch of outings. Wednesday, we start really going out and about in public with the dogs and the new handlers, getting them comfortable using the dogs. I mean, because, all right, so when's the last time you walked into a restaurant with a dog, right?
Yeah, never.
Like, exactly. So you're going to get attention, then you have to get comfortable with, like, what do I do with my dog? When I'm eating, the dog's supposed to lay at your feet and do nothing. So there's a lot of that, getting them comfortable. What do you do if a dog alerts? Like, you have to listen to the dog. So, or the dog wakes you up from a night terror, or medication reminders, things like that, the different tasks that they've been trained to. And then just really making sure that they're bonded and it's the right fit for the dog and for the person. And then in 2 weeks they'll graduate. And then they go and we keep in contact with them. It's not like here's a dog, we'll see you never.
Of course.
We contact them weekly for the first month, and then we have a set contact schedule, and then we have to see them a couple times in the first year, and then they come back every year and recertify with us. They also know that they can always call us. Like 2 of our dogs that are going out as service dogs this year are what we call successor dogs. So they've had a dog from us, and it's time to retire that dog. So then it's not a replacement, because you can never replace a dog. It's their follow dog. It's their follow-up dog.
As soon as you said that, he popped up too. Oh,
yep. So,
he's such a cutie.
He's a good boy.
He just wants attention. He just wants to be on the podcast. But don't worry, Hudson. We're honestly talking all about you. That's right. Yeah, we're talking all about you.
He's a good boy.
So the process for these people that come over, it's about 2 weeks, you said?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And it's a long 2 weeks.
I was gonna say
it's a long 2 weeks for us.
Yeah. You have to meet this person you've really never met before, just an application and maybe some interviews here and there. And then, it's like, but I think it's so cool how, like, let's just say, for example, me, right? I can fill out an application like right now, and I won't get matched up with a dog until, 2-3 years from now. But little did I know, like, that's one of the puppies right now. Like, as soon as my application starts, that's when, like, my service dog, my best friend, like, starts their life. Yes. And by the time we're ready to meet, it's like nothing happened. It's just like, I don't know. I think that's so cool. I want to know how the hell you thought of this idea.
I think it's just one of those things you get told to do and you do it, right?
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind me asking, what does your husband do?
He works for the Department of the Navy. He's a nuclear engineer. So he works on the subs and the carriers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. If you would have just stopped it at subs, I would have been like, that's why you did it, because this is something he can never have on the sub. You're like, fine, I'll do something.
Right, yeah.
I'll do something you can't do. Oh, that's crazy. So your dogs are like between you and him, or are they all your dogs?
So I did. Now, I am not one who buys dogs. Like, dogs are not gifts. Like, no real breeder is going to sell you a dog to be a gift for somebody. But I do have a dog, because you don't know if the dog's going to, it's a whole thing. But we do have I'll call it a family dog. I got a German Short. We both hunt.
Okay.
And so I wanted to start bird hunting more. So a couple years ago, I competed on a show called America's Top Dog.
Really?
Yeah, one of my legends. And
that's so cool.
There was a German Shorthair that was competing on there, and I talked to the lady, and we just kind of stayed Facebook friends or whatever. And she had a litter last year, and she wound up having more puppies than she expected to have. And I jokingly said to her, I was like, oh, well, if you have any left, like if you have any that aren't spoken for, I'm looking to get into bird hunting. And so I have a black German Shorthair named Keeper. So he just turned a year old last month. So
I ain't gonna say it, but he's a keeper.
He is. Yeah, I drove to Ohio and picked him up. Yep. So he's a good dog. So that's probably our. He doesn't like the terriers, so that's the only dog that he'll actually like. So he says he doesn't like the terriers, but he likes my foundation female Quake. He likes her because she's very snuggly. So like I'll go in, she'll be laying on the bed with him. Yeah, I'm like, okay, you don't like him, but
so. That's so cool. That's so cool. Wow, so far this has been honestly a great episode, Brooke. I see you like kind of like playing with Hudson a little bit, and I'm so jealous. Is that the stage in the background? Is that like where they graduate, or is that part of the training?
That's actually so you see the steps where it says Mutts Mission. That is actually plexiglass. So it teaches dogs to trust the handlers, that we're not just going to make them walk across something where they're going to fall through, and it's slippery. So, yeah.
Wow. What, if you don't mind sharing, what other kind of like trainings do you like do with the dogs?
Oh, we do. If you can think of it, we do it. Like we have an agility course out in the field. So a couple years ago, we were blessed enough. We bought a 20-acre horse farm. So this building I'm in was a 20-stall barn.
I was gonna say that just the shape of it kind of gave it away. And the trusses, are those trusses, or is that just decoration for some?
No, we actually. So where you see each metal piece on the ceiling, that was a metal post that came down.
Gotcha.
And we were like, we can't utilize the space like that, so we cut them, and we put the trusses in.
That's so cool.
So so it's a good space. It's we have a bunch of different pastures that we take the dogs to run in. We have a dock diving pool.
Yeah. This is like puppy heaven.
So we do we do a lot of like confidence work with them. Like I said, we have that ladder well, that simulator outside. We do a lot of different surfaces. We'll do outside. We have boxes with different substrates for them to go to the bathroom in, so they learn to go in like sand and artificial turf and things like that. Do a lot of obedience work. But a lot of footing stuff. We want them to be confident no matter what they're like. They should be able to walk over manhole covers and things like that. So. Noises, we do a lot of noise. Like we have a berm on part of the property, so like when we're doing gun training, my oldest son will go out and shoot and stuff like that with the dogs. We put ear pro on them. If we're in close range, we have ear protection. They wear it when they go on the helicopters and things like that. So one of the things that we do with our recipients is we take them to an indoor gun range.
Oh, okay.
Because we work with veterans and first responders, right? I mean, we've all shot.
Yeah.
Some of our Navy people, I guess, they've shot. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing.
I have my conceal.
There you go.
I moved to the South, and I was like, I need that.
I'm sure you did. Yeah. It's gonna be hard when you go up to New Jersey and they take it away again.
Yeah, I was like, it's legal to have, like, literally. We were just driving around, and there was this guy just walking with a handgun just out in the open, just swinging on us. I'm like, no one's gonna stop this guy. And my buddy was like, dude, we're in the South, and he pulls out a pistol. I'm like, oh my god, and he's like, yo, this is legal, And I was like, all right, I got to do my research. Did some research, and I was like, I can get a concealed carry. So I got myself a little Sig P395 for my birthday. I was like, oh, nice. little something. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. My father-in-law, my in-laws still live in New Jersey, so we go up there so often. So I'm like, all right, we're going to New Jersey. I got to make sure I have everything. There's nothing, right?
Yeah. I gotta take a shower and get rid of this hoodie, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't get why the laws are so bad. I mean, you can have weapons in New York and New Jersey. It's just the process of doing it. It's not just here's my license. I went to the courthouse, spent $25. Here's it's you have to go to your local police station and sign up for a safety course and make sure which I get it, right? You don't want someone who's never held a gun in their hand to own one and walk around with it in public. So you want to make sure they're comfortable with it. They know what they're doing, So I get it. But at the same time, I don't know.
They're overly restrictive. I know my stepmother-in-law was trying to get a permit to buy a handgun, and she was fingerprinted over 10 times at the state police because it got messed up or something like that. So she finally was like, okay, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
But they make the process so difficult. And I know just in New Jersey because we lived there for a little bit, but yeah. So
I'll let you know how smooth it goes for me because I'm coming. Hopefully though, I'll kind of be on military orders. So it'll make it a little easier for me. I don't know. Maybe. We shall see what happens.
Keep us posted.
Yeah, no, I definitely will keep you posted. Brooke, do you have any questions for me? I feel like I've been answering you all the questions the entire time.
So how did you get started doing this podcast?
Mental health.
Okay.
Honestly, I was in a really dark spot, a really dark place. I was mad at myself for re-enlisting. It was one of those things I've never really had to deal with, right? Just all my buddies leaving. There were some bad situations that happened while I was still active duty, and I re-enlisted. I was like, now I have to deal with this for the next 3 years of my life. What am I gonna do? You know what I mean? I don't know. And then I was like, well, thank God I didn't get out, because I would have been really lost. It would have been even worse. And then I'm thinking of all the bad things that could have happened, but would never happen because I was still active. So I was like, I'm going to prepare myself. So when I get out of the Navy, like I'm good to go, right? How to buy a house, my TSP, how to file a VA claim, how to find a VA. So me doing this podcast kind of helped me make relations and give me the information I needed without having to go on Google and read 15,000 pages of yada, yada, yada. Plus, I think this is really cool. I just made a new friend, Hudson.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good boy.
And just to let everybody know, like, the same reason why I do this is to let people know, like, this isn't just a podcast for, let's just say, baseball, right? Like, I like to cover everything. The biggest thing is probably mental health, right? So as many mental health episodes or inspirations or speakers or any kind of mental health guest I can get on, definitely helps to let people know, like, hey, 1, you're not alone. 2, there's a reason why a windshield is this big and a rear view mirror is this big, because if it happened in the past, it's behind you. Just keep your head straight, man. Like, things will always get better. Yeah, it's kind of.
And there's always people out there that want to help. I
mean,
think of my puppy raisers that, they raise these puppies for, a year and a half, nearly 2 years, and they're giving it up, knowing that it's going to go help someone, be it, mental health or, mobility disabilities. There are absolutely 110% people out there that want to help you through whatever you're going through. Like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not the first person to ever go through it. It may feel like it, but all you have to do is reach out and ask. And I think that's what bothers me the most is when you hear, like, we hear it in our community, we hear it with the law enforcement community, people who were, big into mental health and things like that commit suicide. And it's like, no one watches the watchers, right? Like, they don't, they think, oh, well, he's doing okay. Check up on your buddies, even if they seem like they're okay, sit them down sometime and be like, hey, how are you doing? Like, and don't think no one ever doesn't care about you. Like, call us, come say, hey, I'm having a really bad day. Can I come hang out with dogs? Yeah, we'll make it happen. That's why we do our ship visits. Like, if we can, so I started this organization and I said, if I can keep one person from committing suicide, I've done my job.
Yep.
Like, I'm done. I did what I set out to do. And on one of the ships, one of our dogs, they were in a port, and the dog and the handler were walking by the sailor from their ship, and they did not know that the sailor was, actively thinking about committing suicide at some point, like within the next little bit while they were there. And I had a knife, had the modality to do it, had everything to do it. They walked by, the handler stopped, said, hey, how you doing? Not knowing anything about anything, said, hey, how you doing? Started talking with the guy. The dog climbed up in the guy's lap and was like, you can pet me now. You can pet me. You can pet me. Yeah. And he did, sat there. They talked for a few minutes, and the handler's like, okay, well, see you back on the ship tomorrow or whatever. That guy went into their office the next day and said, what you don't know is when you saw me yesterday, I was going to kill myself. I was thinking nobody cares about me. No one's thinking about me. He said, you walked by and the dog climbed up in my lap and started, wanting my attention, licking me, just all that stuff. And he said, then I realized that someone does care about me.
Yeah.
Right? So if these dogs can do that, like our dogs that we have with the first responders with the police departments, if they can bring those people to get the help they need, then that's what we want. That's why we do our ship visits. Like, hey, the best comments we hear when we're on the ship, this is the best day in the Navy. This is the best day this ship's ever had. Things like that. And and my puppy raisers, they make connections with these sailors. Like, had a group on the bush today, and we recognize a lot of the sailors on there because we've been seeing them for the past couple of years. You know, people are out there. People care about you. Don't give up hope. There's hope out there. There's people that want to help you, and that's really, I mean, why we do this is so that we can help. Complete strangers care about you.
For real. Even dogs who are complete strangers, dogs you never met before, can change your life. And you know, Brooke, I always say the same thing. I always say, you know, like I really don't care. I haven't made $1 off this podcast. I've spent so much money to get it up and going, monthly, yearly, whatever. I don't give a shit. People listen to it. They don't listen to it. I don't care. All I care about is that one person, which may has happened already. Maybe it hasn't happened already. Just to hear an episode and maybe just have something click for them. Or, you know, just have the lights turn on and get out of a dark room for a little bit. You know, like that's really one of the main reasons. Because I knew I was in that situation prior to me starting this. And I was like, dude, I need fucking help. Like I need to talk to somebody. What better way than to literally talk to people on a podcast platform, right? And at first, no one really knew what was going on. You know, my mom knew, my wife knew, because number one thing, you have to be transparent with people, right? Don't keep shit bottled up, because I don't care how big you are, how manly you are, how womanly you are. If you take a bottle of Coke, 24-ounce, $2 bottle of soda, worthless to anybody, and you shake it, eventually it's going to explode, right? Just picture what that can do to a 250-pound human being. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think what you're doing is phenomenal, Brooke. I think what Hudson is gonna do is gonna be phenomenal. I think everything you got going. I think the Mutts with the Mission is probably my new favorite thing in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. And I would love and be honored if I could definitely come down for a visit. I think that'll be so
absolutely cool. We would love to have you.
Yeah, we already talked about April 26th is graduation for the pups. Also, May 17th is another graduation for the pups. Now, I did ask you this while we were off the air, but I just want to make it known so you don't get bombarded with all of my millions of followers and listeners I have. But the Mutts with the Mission location is not open to the public, correct?
If people call, yeah. But I mean, so I know for the next really 5-6 weeks, because we're running these transfer camps, we really want to focus on, you know, on the recipients. Is it open to the public? I mean, we're here 9 to 5 basically, but it's, if you want to be able to come in and really talk with people and see dogs and maybe even meet with puppy raisers, give us a call. You know, we're happy to set something up. That way we can have focus time on, you know, showing you around, things like that, rather than you just walk in and kind of standing and we're like, hi, yeah, I'm sorry, we're running a class right now. You know?
Yeah, granted, yeah.
But in the next couple of weeks, yeah, we really, I mean, we bring these guys and girls down here. We really want to focus on getting them squared away and making sure that, you know, they're comfortable when they go home, wherever they go home to, with these dogs, and that they're, you know, they're stepping out on the right foot with these guys.
Yeah, phone is always on. Phone is always available, and visiting hours are always flexible. We'll go with that. You know,
yeah.
At the end of the day, right? As important it is for, you know, veterans and you know, either if you're active duty or if you are a veteran or law enforcement or what have you, right? Who is in the process of taming a dog. The most important thing in this whole picture is the dogs themselves, right? Yeah, we gotta make sure we take care of the pups.
Absolutely.
Now that shirt, the hoodie you're wearing, for everyone not seeing, right? I'll just say it is Team Hudson, because I did see. Yeah, she's wearing a Team Hudson. It's actually Hudson. He's got his eye pro on. He's got his feet pro on, and he has a football in front of him.
Sponsored by ODU. He was sponsored by the ODU football team.
That's crazy. Yeah. I'm out here writing handwritten letters, sending emails, using like spell autocorrect, trying to get a sponsor, and Hudson got people reach out to him. That's great.
So what's crazy is my youngest son plays lacrosse with Coach Ronnie's kids, and we had a couple puppy raisers on the team, and his wife Jen was like, "This is cool. Ricky won't let me get another dog, so how do we sponsor a puppy?" And so, yeah, that's how all that got started, was through my youngest son who plays lacrosse. So
wow. So
yep.
Was she the sponsor of Hudson?
It was a Father's Day gift for Ricky. Yes.
Oh,
yep, she sponsored
wow.
him. Yep. And I mean, it's just been, he loves the football team. He loves his players. We can be walking, we'll be walking through the campus, going over to the field, and he can tell the football players, even if they're not, in their football uniforms.
Really?
He's like, "Yep, I know them." Yeah.
That's so cool.
We're out, in Norfolk doing something, he knows them. So it's pretty cool, but yeah, he graduates this year, or in a couple weeks he'll go, and I think I'll actually miss him a little bit, but we whelped his litter out, so I've known him since the day he was born.
Yeah. Okay. So he was a homebody. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
We have a couple. Well, and so then when we were doing, like we go to practices and stuff like that, and that's a lot to ask of a puppy raiser.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love college football, so I was like, oh darn, I'll have to go to all the games and watch. Oh, that's gonna be so sad. Not really. It's great. I mean, I love it. And I mean, I tell you what, ODU. So I went to Virginia Tech back when Coach Beamer was coaching back in the late '90s. And so I know what good college football is. And I tell you what, man, this ODU football team is up and coming. I mean, they've got some incredible, but this portal thing that they have now in college football is killing teams. Like, used to, you could transfer once, but you had to sit out a year, and then you could, but now it's like you could transfer and go play, the next day. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe Hudson will be like the next Air Bud or something.
Yeah,
I know Air Bud was a golden retriever, but that's okay. When you think about it, it's close enough. Kind of, sort of, not really. But
I mean, they have four legs and a tail. They're the same color.
That's what I'm saying, and they both like football. That's kind of what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? I think you can compare a golden retriever and a lab more than you compare, like, I don't know, a Great Dane and a lab.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh man, Brooke, this has been really, really fun. I want to say thank you. I don't know if I thanked you in the beginning, but I'm going to thank you now in the end. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you for taking care of the community. It's probably one of the best things you can ever do in a lifetime, is not only take care of you and your household, but also the people around you. You know what I mean? Like, it's the reason why it's called the community. If you don't know what community means, look it up, because I don't know what it means. I don't know what the Google term is, but nah, Brooke, I want to say thank you very much. I'm definitely looking forward to coming out there. Might not be able to see Hudson. I don't want to spoil his time right now, and he's got a busy schedule coming up, so I definitely know how it's going to be. But anything you want to say to the people listening, Brooke? Anything you want to say or ask me before I let you go?
You know what? I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's incredible. I think we all have our own areas, and the more that we connect and network and help people out, the better off we are, the better off people are. So I really appreciate you having Hudson and I, even though he's taken off for the hinterland. He's trying to go find a specific toy, but he doesn't know that I hid it from him because it wasn't his. I definitely appreciate your time, and thank you for all you do. And I look forward to you and your wife coming out here and meeting with us. And same thing. If groups want us to come out and visit, like their commands or something like that, give us a call. I mean, we set those things up all the time, so we'd love to come out and help out any way that we can.
I love it. Sounds dope. Brooke, I wish Legend was here so I could say it to him too. Thank you guys so much. Hudson, thank you for replacing Legend today. I know he had other things to do, so you stepped in. I really do appreciate it. Freedom Empire, Brooke, thank you guys so much. We'll catch you next time on the pod. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey.
Views presented are those of the speaker, and the guest do not necessarily represent the views of the Department of Defense or its components. Neither the Department of Defense or its components bears any responsibility for the accuracy, legality, or content of the views discussed on this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into this.